Morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's video I'm making for a couple of reasons actually. The first one is it's mainly about light and the right light for wildlife photography. And the second reason is I was at Richmond Park photographing red deer a few days ago, and we had one of the best mornings I've ever had at Richmond Park. It was misty, it was still, it was sunny, and the conditions were absolutely fantastic. And not only that, but I've got my best footage probably ever of a red deer rut, because the rut was in the mist, and there was a little bit of frost around as well. So it was perfect conditions, and I want to feature that as well in this video. So the main part of the video, as I say, is about light, because to be honest, light is one of the most important things when it comes to any type of photography, wildlife photography included. And there's basically two types of light. You've got hard light and you've got soft light. So hard light is the sort of light you get on a sunny day. So you get bright highlights and dark shadowed areas, and you've got this very directional type of light. And then soft light is the sort of light you get on a cloudy day, a foggy day, or a misty day. It's much more low contrast and the light is softer, and it's good for bringing out detail in actual fact. So there's no such thing as the wrong light. You've just got to make sure you photograph the right things in the right lighting conditions. So first things first, let's talk about hard light. So hard light is the sort of light you get on a sunny day, and it's great for wildlife photography. Now, what hard light will do is it will give you like little catch lights in the eyes of your subject. So that's like a little sparkle in the eye, and it brings out the eye of the animal you're photographing. And that will be particularly important if you're photographing something like, say, an avocet, where it's got a dark face and it's got a dark eye. You need that little bit of directional light and that catch light to bring the eye out so you can see it out, you know, in this black face. So I'd say hard directional sunlight is great for lots of types of bird photography. It's great for mammals as well. I mean, I've got some great shots of the deer in hard lighting conditions, but I've also got really nice shots of deer in soft lighting conditions. So we'll talk about hard light properly now. So if you look at a photograph of these deer, you can see what we've got is two types of hard light actually. We've got front light and backlight. And when it comes to wildlife photography, they're the two best directions. So if you look at the photograph of this deer, we've got this first picture, we've got front light coming onto the deer, so it really illuminates the deer's face, it illuminates its body, and it gives you lots of detail. And the reason we've got lots of detail is because the light is directly shining onto the animal we're photographing. So we've got the light behind our shoulder and it's shining onto the animal. And front light is great for general wildlife photography because it brings out all the detail of the animal. Yet if you shoot with side light, so the light coming in here or here, you often get a really dark shadow side of the face or the body, and that can cut out a lot of the detail. And if the light's very contrasty, it's very bright, the shadows can be super dark. So if we want to show the full range of detail in that animal, front light is great. So if you look at this next picture, this was lit with backlighting, and so backlighting is where the light is behind the animal, so you're shooting towards the sun. I tend to make sure I've not got the sun in the frame, because if you're shooting with a DSLR, that's not good for your eyes because you're looking through the viewfinder, and with a DSLR it's an optical viewfinder. But the fact of the matter is, in most cases, the picture looks better if the sun's not in it anyway, you know, because it's a distracting element. So we've got the deer, and it's backlit, and as you can see there's a little glow around the body of the deer, and this is what backlight lighting gives you. It gives you what's called a rim lighting effect, and the outline of the animal just glows. It's really atmospheric. So backlighting gives you less actual detail on the animal because you haven't got any light lighting it up, it's coming from behind, but you get this rim lighting effect and you get this glow, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And if you've got backlighting and you've got misty conditions, it is just a win-win situation because the mist glows, because mist is made up of obviously lots of little water droplets and they transmit light, so that looks fantastic. You've got the glow of the fur or the outline of the animal, and in the case of this picture here, you've got the breath of that deer being backlit, so it really stands out against the dark forest. So backlighting is incredibly atmospheric. As I say, it doesn't give you so much detail of the actual animal, but we're not looking for that. We're looking for the atmosphere. It doesn't work for everything. So it works for anything that's furry, because you get this lovely, as I say, rim lighting effect. It works for quite a few birds, certainly birds like barn owls, where the light will shine through their wings. That looks fantastic. But there are some birds that have sort of got quite solid wings that don't transmit light, and backlighting I don't think works quite as well for those animals. So it doesn't work for everything, but with the right animal, backlighting can look fantastic. So they're the two basic directions of light that work. As I say, we do have side light as well. But that would be much better for, say, landscape photography. For wildlife, either front light, where the light's shining onto the animal, or backlight are the best options. And it will be a case of just working your way around the location to position yourself so you've either got the front light or the backlight, depending on what you want. If you're in a hide or you're on a nature reserve, obviously you can't move positions. The hide is where it is. But I would work out which hides are good in the morning, which hides are good in the afternoon, and which direction I would like for a particular subject that I'm photographing. So it's about pre-planning again. And I did a video about pre-planning a shoot a couple of weeks back, so I'll probably drop that in the description below. So there are options for hard light. And what we'll do now is we'll talk next about soft light, which is the sort of light you get on a cloudy day, a misty day, or a foggy day. Now we'll discuss soft light. Now there's nothing wrong with cloudy conditions. In fact, some animals will look better in soft light than hard light. Again, it's about matching the light to the subject, to be honest. And the sort of animals that would work good in soft light are birds that have, let's say, birds that have got really white plumage. So things like little egrets, great egrets, spoonbills, anything that's really bright. Actually, it can be very hard to get a full range of tones in, the background and the foreground, or the background and the subject you're photographing on a sunny day. And in fact, even getting a full range of tones, getting the exposure right for a single bird, let's say a little egret, sometimes it's very hard to get, if you've got the light bouncing off the top of the bird, it's very hard to get detail in that bright area and then get detail in the darker areas of the bird, because they've still got dark beaks, dark feet, so there's a range of tones there. So soft light is brilliant for bringing out detail, and on a very contrasty, bright subject, I think it's a good option. So there's no right or wrong, you just match the right light to the right subject. I do tend to prefer hard light for things that have got really dark faces or really dark bodies, like the avocets that we talked about earlier, because you need to bring out the eye and that little catch light. And on soft light, the eye can literally disappear into the face and you don't get any detail at all. So it's the same. And if you wanted to do close-up photography, macro photography, for example, we were doing dragonflies or damselflies or stuff like that, then soft lighting is brilliant, because again, bringing out all the detail is much easier with soft light, because you haven't got to worry about that contrast between the light area and the dark area, so the light and the shade. So hard light is what we get on a sunny day. Soft light, a foggy day, a misty day, or a cloudy day. Now, when you've got a misty day and you've got hard light breaking through, you sort of get the best of both worlds, because you get this lovely directional light, but also you get this lovely atmosphere. And the last thing I wanted to talk about in this video is weather conditions. So we've talked about the lighting conditions that work for wildlife photography. What about the weather conditions? So you've got another. I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that I don't think there are any bad weather conditions for wildlife photography. Yes, sunny conditions with that low warm sunlight works fantastically for most things, and that directional sunlight brings out detail in the animal. It gives you the catch light in the eye and it looks superb, especially if the sun is low in the sky. And that's the other thing, if you're photographing with directional sunlight, you want to shoot early morning, late evening when the sun's low in the sky. Not only does it make the light just slightly softer, it's warmer, you get that golden glow, it looks fantastic. And of course, generally early morning, late evening, there's more wildlife around anyway. Now, cloudy conditions, we've already heard, are great for some animals, especially the really bright white birds and stuff like that. And even if it's pouring with rain, that can be great for wildlife photography, because if you're photographing something like a red deer, for example, the fur gets wet, they sometimes shake their bodies and you get water droplets come off. Even if you've had a really rainy morning and then the sun pops out, you can actually see steam coming off the animals. So there's no bad weather conditions for wildlife photography. But again, it's about planning your shoot and using the right conditions for the animal you're photographing. And just as last but not least, I photographed some grey seal on a beach in Norfolk under the most unbelievably bad weather conditions. It was windy, it was raining heavily, the sand was getting blown up and almost burying the seals. Obviously I kept my camera well covered up with a rain cover, but those pictures were so different. One of them actually got shortlisted in British Wildlife Photographer of the Year. So, and I think the reason for that is because it was a bit different, and most people don't go out and photograph in unbelievably bad weather conditions. So as long as you can keep yourself safe and keep your equipment safe, it does add extra options. So don't rule out going out in bad weather. It can produce some fantastic wildlife pictures. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you have enjoyed it, if you could give it a like, a thumbs up, that would be great. That always helps my channel. If you've got any wildlife experiences that were maybe taken in fantastic light or unbelievably bad weather conditions and it turned out to be a brilliant photograph, let me know. Drop them in the description below. Always good to hear about what you guys are doing. And then last but not least, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, if you can consider subscribing, that would be great. More the merrier. It's free to subscribe, and hopefully if you press the little bell icon, you'll hopefully be notified when my next video is uploaded. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this sort of helps with your wildlife photography, and I'll see you on my next video. So bye for now, guys.